Hey everyone, welcome back to Cosmeology, where we discuss everything about Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere. I hope you're having a splendid day wherever you find yourself. As you can see from the video title, today we'll be talking about Biochromatic Breath, the magic system found in Warbreaker. Biochromatic Breath, also known simply as Breath, is the magic system found on Nalthis, the world where Warbreaker takes place. Every person on Nalthis is born with exactly one breath, which can be willingly volunteered to another person, meaning you can't steal someone's breath from them. People do, however, often sell their breath if they've run on hard times. Someone without a breath is known as a drab. For them, colors and senses are dulled and are overall emotionally muted and depressed. The method of giving your breath to someone else is a type of awakening, using the command, "My life to yours, my breath become yours." The person giving the breath must be in physical contact with the recipient. Using a breath to power magic is known as awakening. Awakening is basically animating an object. You give the object a command while visualizing the action. The better you are at awakening, the more complex of an action you can create. Additionally, depending on the object you're trying to animate, it may require more than one breath to work properly. Strangely, it seems like color somehow also fuels awakenings. This is seen by the color being drained from nearby objects during the awakening process, leaving them gray. When you've finished with the animated object, you can recover your breath for future awakenings. However, the collateral color drain does remain. As a person collects more breaths, they get access to additional abilities. These extra abilities are known as heightenings. Someone with 50 breaths gains the ability of aura recognition, which lets the person judge roughly how many breaths another person holds. The second heightening comes at 200 breaths and grants the person perfect pitch. The third heightening comes at 600 breaths and gives the person perfect color recognition. The fourth heightening comes at 1,000 breaths and grants perfect life sense, which lets you instinctively sense other people around you. 2,000 breaths gives you the fifth heightening and grants agelessness. This also grants immunity to most toxins and physical ailments. So you're basically immortal at this point. The sixth heightening comes at 3,500 breaths and grants instinctive awakening, meaning you can immediately understand the basics of awakening without training or practice. The seventh heightening comes at 5,000 breaths and grants invested breath recognition. This allows you to see if something has been invested with breath via awakening. This heightening is rarely achieved because of such a high breath cost. The eighth heightening comes at 10,000 breaths and grants command breaking, meaning you can override the command of awakened objects with your own command. The ninth heightening comes at 20,000 breaths and grants greater awakening, which allows you to awaken stone and steel. Again, not much is known about this because of the rarity of accumulating so many breaths, but this is how the sword Nightblood was made. The 10th and final heightening comes after attaining 50,000 breaths and grants color distortion, the intrinsic ability to bend light around white objects. This also grants perfect invocation, which allows the person to consume more color to fuel their awakening, draining the items to white instead of gray. The third ability of this heightening is mental command. As the name suggests, someone at this heightening can give commands for their awakening mentally instead of verbally. So now that we understand the basics of breath and awakening, let's jump into the deep end and get a little more specific about the types of objects that can be awakened. Type 1 awakenings are known as returned and is the only known naturally occurring biochromatic entity. These consist of a recently deceased body regaining sentience, although they don't remember their past lives. These returned are endowed with a divine breath, which they receive from the shard endowment. If they use their divine breath, they will die. However, they are able to use other normal breaths to fuel awakenings without killing themselves. These returned are treated as gods. Type 2 biochromatic entities are known as lifeless. Think of these as mindless zombies that follow commands. Breaths given to a lifeless are impossible to receive, so creating one permanently consumes roughly 50 breaths. You can also create a lifeless by encasing bones in stone and animating those. Type 3 biochromatic entities are the most common and applies to any object that is awakened. This could be a rope, cloth, doll, etc. The more these objects resemble a living being, the easier it is to be awakened and requires fewer breaths. Type 4 biochromatic entities are sentient objects made from metal or stone. As we discussed earlier, this requires at least the 9th heightening. These objects are super rare and incredibly powerful. And with that, you are now more or less caught up with Biochromatic Breath. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have suggestions on which Cosmere topic I should cover next, please leave a comment below. While you're at it, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all my future uploads. And with that, have a great rest of your day.